my message to Buckeye fans is don't change a thing, baby. Keep doing what you do. Keep being who you are. Everything's gonna be fine. Listen. It's working out great. You can have your off seasons. You can have these recruiting victories. We all know y'all are way into that stuff, like way too into that stuff, like way into that stuff. Just hey, it's all good. And then come November, you take that little L. It's just a little one. Remember, you won 8 years in a row. This will only be four. It's okay. The sun will still come up in Columbus.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Scarlet Blue Show, part 6 of the 10-week war. And we bring out a very special guest, Michigan Wolverine.
I don't know about that. Not no, not so special. Just a dude.
A little
Don't put too
special.
much on me.
A little special.
Just another pudgy white guy
No,
talking
you mean
football
a
over
lot. You
here.
mean a lot to me, Darren. You mean a lot to me.
Well, I do appreciate that. You guys, by the way, you guys, I think, are the better version of the Blue and Red show. I just want to say that real quick to start this thing out. All the credit in the world to those other two guys out there, on the whatever Big Ten network, whatever they're going to call it now. But this is where it's at right here, the Scarlet and Blue show. So,
Darren, I appreciate you saying that. I know Bryce does too, because we've been trying to get some legal advice about this. Because first off, Ohio State's not red; it's scarlet.
Mm.
So
true.
and Joshua Perry knows better. He knows
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as if they take that route, hey man, we're coming full force.
You also cannot tell me that Joshua Perry hasn't watched some Dragon Ball Z. That dude is a
He said
giant
that.
nerd. No, 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 no. I'm not saying he said that.
Oh,
But as a giant nerd myself, takes one to know one. That dude is a nerd. I love
oh,
Joshua Perry. I think he's great. All rivalry stuff aside, he's one of my favorite analysts. But that is a nerd through and through right
no.
there.
On the
Through
show,
and
he's
through.
the nerd, and Jake Butt is definitely the cool guy. He is definitely the cool guy.
That's how it
That's
is with us,
true.
though.
Yeah,
I, I
a
didn't.
little bit.
I can't believe I said that out
Is
loud.
Garrison more of a nerd than he'll admit over
Oh, I'm a
here?
Hey,
nerd. Oh man, I geek out on Lord of the Rings.
Oh, nice, nice.
I geek
Okay,
out.
some J.R.R.
Jared
Tolkien was the
Tolkien. Yep.
guy. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
started reading all the books. So
I have some respect. I'm a giant history nerd, and he got like all of his stuff from having fought in World War One, which is cool. Like the whole series is all like
I mean,
inspired by all of his stuff that he went through in World War One, which is crazy. Yeah, little history fact you got.
cool.
look at
I
that.
like the
That's
way you started that.
not what I expected coming out the gates
Yeah.
here.
Well, you
That's what
welcomed
I'm
on
talking about.
a stay-at-home dad that does nothing but play Magic the Gathering and listen to history podcasts. So
What? There you go. There you go. Well,
yeah.
we welcome
That's
on.
probably as kind as you'll see us act in the show today.
Maybe. You'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. I feel like I
Well,
might disappoint a little bit. I'm much nicer in person than I am on Twitter, so
that's what
I
we
like to
found to be
think
the
it.
case, though, Darren. There's been we had Cleveland Mike on couple last week, couple weeks ago, and he was too kind. That's not who I thought I would.
It did surprise me. I watched that and he was great, by the way. And
Oh,
I've
it was
gotten in
awesome.
some back and forths with him on Twitter. And I was like, I gotta watch this one because this is gonna be juicy. And then it was chill. It was cool. It was good. And it's good to like we all gotta like I think step back sometimes and just appreciate what we have with the rivalry in general, because like other sports people don't have what we got here. Like
Mm.
there are very few rivalries that even come close. Like I'm a bit of a European football nerd, like the Tottenham, Arsenal, North
Wait, who's your
London
team?
derbies. Tottenham all the way.
Oh, you're a
Tottenham
Tottenham
Hotspur.
fan?
Yeah, yeah,
I did
have
not
been
want to know
since like
this. I'm a huge
yeah.
Tottenham fan, man.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah. Well, hey,
Come
there we
on,
go.
you Spurs.
We got something in common. Yeah.
Here we go.
I think that one kind of comes close. But nothing really touches what we got here in
Okay.
terms of American sports. That whole Boston, New York thing, like they can talk whatever they want to talk, but that's not as real as this. They haven't fought actual wars like Michigan and Ohio have. Come on now. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Well, all right. We got Darren knows ball. Right. Wait. Yes. Darren
Darren
talks
talks
ball.
Oh,
ball.
Talks
talk
ball.
ball.
I don't know how
He
much
knows
actual
ball.
ball I know,
He
but
knows ball, but he also
we're
talks
learning.
ball.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So welcome on, man. We dove right into it. So I don't know if there's really need for further introductions here, but great to have you on here. Garrison
Yeah.
and Darren seem to go at it all the time on the old Bird app. And so I assume I'm just gonna have to mute my mic here and just sit back and enjoy. But yeah, man, great to have you on.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Love you guys' show, and this is crazy. Honestly, I don't know like how long you guys have been doing your thing, but I've been doing this channel for like 8 months, and it's crazy. I never expected how much it's gotten the point it's gotten to, and now getting invited to be on different shows is awesome. It's cool, and I think you guys are also from GR too, right? Can I say that? Do we
Yep.
share where we're from on this? I know some people are weird
I'm in
about that, but
Texas,
like,
but
oh, you are. Did not know
Austin.
that.
Wait, all
Oh,
right.
nice, nice.
He is a Grand Rapids boy. He
Oh, Midwest through it. Oh, yeah, no, yeah. No,
Word,
no, no. I'm not a
word.
Texan.
Yeah.
I'm coming back
and
in
and
weeks.
Bryce, do you know where Darren went to high school?
No?
I was going to start the show by saying it's really nice of you private school kids to invite this degenerate from Wayland Union High School on. I'm not
Oh,
too proud of
Wayland.
where I come from. Yeah. Wayland, Michigan. You know, the place where you stop to take a piss on your way to Kalamazoo.
Yeah, down
That's what it's
131.
known for. Oh yeah. The Wayland
Wow.
Speedway is the most in order. Well, they got the casino now, I
They
guess.
have
I
to
haven't
see,
been there
yeah.
in years,
Gun
but
Lake.
yeah, yeah. So you guys went to South Christian, I believe.
Yep.
What was it like wearing those like Penn State ass uniforms they have?
I loved it.
You did?
I think it's one of the coolest jerseys ever. I
It
loved it.
is. It is clean. It is a clean look. I have to say that.
I need to make that. I need to clarify that that's not a Penn State helmet. That's a South Christian High School helmet.
I was going to say that's what I thought, and I
Yes.
thought Garrison and I have gone over this on Twitter that he went to South Christian. I assumed you had as well because you guys are like longtime buddies and stuff, which I think makes the show so cool. By the way, like you can tell you guys have known each other for a long time, and that kind of like camaraderie, but also knowing how to like hold a good conversation with each other. It's really cool.
Oh, shoot. Stop.
Oh,
Stop. No, we lived 3 houses down from each other for the longest time. Four
Oh,
houses.
dope.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Well, people don't want to hear about us. They
Yeah,
want to
true.
hear
Yeah,
about
I'm
the
totally
rivalry.
derailing you guys' stuff
No,
here. I'm
it's
sorry.
good.
oh
It's
no,
good.
I don't mind that. We don't mind it. Trust me.
So we got, I don't know where you guys want to go with this, and Garrison, feel free to jump in here. But you had a video, subscribe to his channel. He's got way more subscribers than we do. Holy cow. Well done,
I don't
sir.
know how. People ask me. I'm
Love
like,
it.
I'm just a dude,
Oh, well done, dude.
You're
giant
doing good
nerd
work.
I
talking
love your
football.
show. I do love your show.
I
I
thank
listen.
you
So.
sincerely. That means a lot, especially coming from rival fans. I honestly I love all the love I get from Michigan fans, but when Ohio State fans are like, "You got some good stuff here," especially when I'm talking Ohio State, I was worried that I'm not as big of an expert, but it means a lot. It really does.
Yeah, Darren talks ball at Darren talks ball on YouTube. You got a video with 15,000 views. Michigan football will be a powerhouse under Sherrone Moore. That's a really warm, almost hot take.
I'd say it's pretty hot, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It's
I agree.
decently hot. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What's the floor is yours, and Garrison, what do you have to say to that? Because I'm not going to disagree with that statement. I like it.
So I'm gonna treat this like let's say like a college football player. I have never seen him on the field, like or for like a full season as a head coach. Now don't let it be me to prey on the downfall of another black guy. I'm not gonna do that. But I think listen, I like Sherrone Moore. I think he's the like last year on the show during the season. I said I think he's the best offensive line coach in the nation. Um, and I mean even with Michigan's new O line coming in, I said I'm not gonna bet against him being bad or bet that they'll be bad this year. I think that the program is behind him, and I think that's most important. I think if you have the Michigan boosters and fans behind you, I mean behind how already having your players with you, you can succeed there. And so he's got the infrastructure, he's got talent on the team. Like Michigan has top 10 talent in the country, so he should succeed. He should.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. And trying to think back to that video, I will qualify this with I have the memory of a goldfish because I have a toddler. So it's just been a wild 2 years for me trying to remember anything more than like 2 weeks back. I think is roughly when I did that video. Um, but yeah, everything that Garrison said, I agree with wholeheartedly. I think the culture at Michigan is something that a lot of people have touched on, obviously, is a big factor in this last year's national championship run. Big factor in them being able to retain a lot of guys through the transfer portal windows, plural, that have opened since Jim Harbaugh left, and obviously the spring portal window. But if I remember back to that video, I think it was I also mentioned like certain moves that they've made in the offseason that haven't been really touched on a lot, I think are really great because whether Michigan fans admit it or not, and I think this is actually a point where I think Garrison and I might agree. I think we might actually agree more in this, by the way, than what some people might think.
I'm
We'll
interested.
see. I
I
see
think
the
I know.
little
I
eye
think I
roll
know what
there,
you're gonna
but
say.
but they added like a general manager. They added some more modern roles, and I think the program itself, the one problem that happened under especially the later years of the Jim Harbaugh era, because I think 2017 and 2018 specifically were like top 5 to top 10 recruiting classes, and then it kind of slumped off. Is you got to update and kind of modernize because for as much as the culture means and as much as developing players like Mikey Sanderstill and Mason Graham and former 3 stars into draftable talent, you don't continue to have the success without getting talent, without recruiting paired with the development, and we'll see what Justin Tress can do as a strength and conditioning coach. You guys both know that as former players yourself, your strength coach and people like that, it's like the guy that you spend the most amount of time around. So
He learned under your previous strength coach.
under Herbert, yeah. So he was there the entire time that Herbert was, right from the start, and knows the system in and out. But you got to do things to modernize too. You got to compete in NIL. You got to be able to roster manage. You got to find ways to work through this modern era that we're in college football. Sometimes as a Michigan fan, it makes me worry a little bit because we have been a little antiquated in our approach. There are certain like cultural things around the university itself that's very rooted in like we do things the right way, and they get this very stubborn. And then there's this whole other aspect of like the academia around Michigan. I feel like I can say this because I'm a Walmart Wolverine. My degree is from Grand Canyon University, but I feel like I can say some things that maybe other people don't say, and we'll see if I get flack for it. I don't care. But there's this whole other like cultural thing around Michigan that's like you can't. There's nothing that can like touch or tarnish the name of Michigan University, and I get it, or the University of Michigan, sorry, and I get it. But sometimes it kind of holds us back, and I like what Sherrone Moore has done in adding that GM, in adding some guys in some recruiting spots that other schools have that they haven't had in the past, and becoming more connected to the NIL. What do you call them? The collectives. There we go. And I think with that approach, and it looks like they've been in contact with some more higher level recruits. Unfortunately, they missed out on one to Kentucky. I don't know what Kentucky did to the state of Michigan. I don't know what the history is there. I was recently in Kentucky. I don't got any problem with y'all. Please quit coming for our players, by the way. But I like the fact that they're in contact with some higher level recruits, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't think Josh Pate had a video on this recently about how Michigan's 2023 team was kind of like the last great college football team because it was a team that was recruited and developed, and there was minimal addition through the portal.
A lot
I
of
don't know
people
if
didn't understand the context behind that. I understood it.
no, they
And
did
that,
not. And
that
it was
was
like, well, there's still a lot of people out there that are like, God, the Stallions is the only reason why they won any games for the last 3 years. It's like, okay, that's not like
Garrison.
I'm not a Connor
that's not
Stallions
that is not
defender.
me.
I'm not a Connor Stallions defender, but let's also be honest here. Like they didn't need Connor Stallions to beat UNLV in Minnesota. Like, come on, let's be honest. But yeah, I like the moves that they're making. Sorry if that was a long-winded answer, but
Oh,
I really like what they're doing and keeping that culture, but also kind of modernizing the front office. And I also like let's like I also think it's really cool that he's the first African American head coach at the University of Michigan too. Like that's awesome. Most of the coaching staff are African American. That's really cool.
mhm.
It's just really cool to see. So yeah, I'm really excited. Do I think that they'll be a powerhouse in the way that Georgia and Alabama have been powerhouses? Probably not, but I think it's a new exciting era for Michigan football.
I like the answer.
I told you we might agree on
Yeah,
more
no,
in this.
yeah.
And
See, no, this is the problem
Come
when
on,
you like.
Garrison.
No,
Let's
this is the
go.
problem. I'm giving Darren. No, I'm giving Darren more like he because this isn't X. You don't have character like a character limit. You can more like here. I can more understand why what he's thinking. Darren. So earlier today, I watched your video.
ooh,
Um, you had a very early look ahead for the Ohio State Michigan game. On there.
Hey, you know what you need though when times of chaos?
Tell me what we need, Bryce.
You need an insurance agent you can trust. Dillon Riches of the Riches Agency, Farm Bureau Insurance. Trust, integrity, and personal service still matter to a lot of people. These values are alive and well in Farm Bureau Insurance agent Dillon Riches of the Riches Agency. Dillon offers service that's convenient to you, appointments that fit your schedule, and he'll get to know you face to face. Trust him for all your insurance needs. You just need one good insurance professional in your life. Make a Dillon. Call 616-600-0083 today. Farm Bureau's Insurance, Michigan's insurance company.
Now,
did you watch the whole thing? Because it was over an hour long, and I'm
yes,
not
I
gonna
did.
lie, I got done recording it. I was like, man, that was long-winded.
I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole
Awesome,
thing.
thank you.
Yeah, man, of course. And so I was very interested when you did the position breakdown.
I thought we might get to this, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Now here's the real. And Bryce, I'm so sorry. I don't disagree with anything he posted on there. I think you had Ohio State for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive back, and that's it. Correct?
Yeah, and then Michigan offensive line, defensive line, special teams, and one linebackers.
Yeah. And you did say that D line. You said you could go back and forth with it, but this is where I'm actually going to push back. And
Okay,
and this is offensive line. And Bryce,
hit me. Let's go. I'm gonna stretch real quick.
Please feel free to chime in at any time. Both of you can. Bryce knows at times I can be a jerk and interrupt, so please don't feel free to do that to me. So I've been very, very, very adamant on saying this about you guys' offensive line, where I think guys are very talented. El Hadi, I think, I've told Bryce, I'm surprised he stayed in Michigan this long.
Same.
I think El Hadi is going to be a very good offensive lineman. I think everyone in your interior will be good. You have is it Freeb?
Preeb from Northwestern. Yeah, it was like the second or third team All Big Ten last year.
He's an All Big Ten player. He has that notch, that badge on his jacket. And then there's everyone else. You guys have had some injuries. I'm not. Last year there was a lot of let's say hype around Miles Hinton. I don't think he's what any of your linemen were last year. Like, even though Trevor Keegan was a guard, I'm very adamant on that. I think if he had played tackle, which he very well could have, he would have been in the first round. I truly do believe that.
Okay, yeah.
But guards are just a dime a dozen in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say Ohio State's offensive line are some world beaters. We don't have actually, don't you mentioned this on the show on your show? We right guard and right tackle. It's that right side of the line for a second year now that is very questionable.
Because it's Hinsman. Is Hinsman moving over there, right? And he has some shaky play, maybe. I'm not as familiar with the Ohio State offensive line, so I appreciate you kind of.
Oh, for sure. No, Hinsman's moving over because of our transfer going to center. And then I'm a big fan of Luke Montgomery. He's a sophomore now at Ohio State, very talented kid coming out of high school at tackle. Actually, his brother is Montgomery that just went to Alabama. Committed to Georgia. That's
yeah.
Quarterback. So at the same time though, I've never seen anyone on your offensive line as a unit play together. So though Sherrone Moore is your O-line coach, I don't think you can just outright say right now, especially after the first, because I thought both offensive lines got tortured in their spring games.
They did.
I don't think that, and I think everyone should have saw it coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you can just outright say Michigan's offensive line is better than Ohio State's right now. I think that's my thing. I don't think you can honestly say that. If you want to say your defensive line is better, I can get why you would say that. I can get why you would. But I want to know, what was your reasoning behind the offensive line part giving it to Michigan?
I think, to be honest, it's probably more splitting hairs than what maybe I made it out in the video, to be completely honest. I have so much trust in Sherrone Moore, like you mentioned. Sherrone Moore really is to the offensive line what Ryan Day has been to like quarterbacks at Ohio State these past few years. It's the position that he played back in college. It's the position that he knows. It's the position group that he coached coming up through the ranks. And I just really trust him with development. I'll say I was at the spring game in person, and I even got to see some of the freshmen. My buddy and I got there just in time for the gates to open, so we watched all of warmups and everything. When Blake Frazier, that freshman, walked out on the field, I was like, because he's wearing 77 right off the bat, which caught my eye. Because like that's a number that you don't just give to anybody at Michigan. And at first, I had to look and notice he didn't have any tattoos on his arms. And be like, oh, that's not Keegan anymore because he's that big already. Like that dude is tall. That dude is massive. There's a lot of guys coming up through the ranks. Obviously, one thing that gets looked over a lot too is that 2024 recruiting class as a whole was not up to standards. And I know I've already touched on this in this video here. And it was like 16th in composite on 24/7 when things all ended. But that offensive line class was like second or third best in the country.
Well,
We
last
got
year's.
guys, yeah, 2024.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it was. I think it was second best behind Georgia's.
yeah, behind Georgia. Yeah. So you got Frazier and Granara who are already on campus, and you got guys like Luke Hamilton and the other ones I'm blanking on names right now that'll be here in the fall. Behind the guys like you mentioned, El Hadi was a very talented recruit coming out of high school. I think he was like a 96 composite. And this
He
is
was,
something we actually went
he
back
was
and
like
forth on
top
Twitter the
60.
other
He
day.
was top 60 out of high school.
Yeah. Um, this is something we actually went back and forth with on over on Twitter the other day because you were like, "Does recruiting ranking matter anymore for a guy third year on campus?" And I'll give you that a little bit, but also like, come on, man! Like we know he's a good player. Like
Oh
we've
yeah,
known since high school. I think he could have started at most any other school in the country, and it's like you said, it's crazy that he stayed behind
started from
Keegan.
Ohio
I think that
State.
goes back to the culture and the champion circle and all those NIL collectives. That's the one thing that they've really done well is keeping the guys that we have. There's a weird thing with like inducements and not wanting to do inducements and stuff, and I get that, but they've done a good job of keeping those guys. So I just really it boils down to my trust in Sherrone Moore and knowing that the talent's there. You mentioned El Hadi. Greg Crippen is another guy who was, I think he was a 3-star coming out of high school, so now he's highly rated, but a guy who developed really well. And it was like, I remember in 2022, everyone was like, okay, it's Greg Crippen's time. Like he's been really good in spring. He's been great. And then it was like, well, the best center in the country is going to come here in the transfer portal. So obviously we're going to take him. And then it's like, okay, 2023 is Greg Crippen's year. And it's like, well, again, one of the best centers in the country, Drake Nugent, not as good as Olu, but still
Mhm.
coming in through the transfer portal because he wants to get, and that's the thing with Michigan. The one thing that we do have in the transfer portal is it's a great academic university. So you can come here as a grad transfer, get your degree from Michigan, play one season, and be on your way. So Drake Nugent comes over
That's a
from
good deal.
Stanford, I think. Right. It's true. It is. It really,
Deal.
we don't talk about it enough. It's a great deal. Hey, come here. We know you're a good player. Play for one more year, get your fifth year in, get a degree from the University of Michigan, and be on your way. But yeah, so Greg Crippen never really got his chance until now. It's really hard, like you said, to evaluate the offensive line in the spring game too, because of the way they do the draft and like even trying to watch it in person. I was like, who's in now? Well, there's a freshman next to Greg Crippen. How do I evaluate this? I don't know. But again, it just comes back to that trust and knowing that they have talent there and they have guys that could have started last season even. So yeah, probably more splitting hairs than anything because at the end of the day, we don't know. I'm trying to take too many things away from spring games in general is kind of a fool's errand. I've kind of been doing it because it's all we have to talk about right now. But yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning. I feel like
That's fair.
I
I
told
like
you we'd agree
I
more. I told
I
you we'd agree
yeah,
more
this is
than people may
disappointing.
have thought.
This is disappointing. I wanted more
Ohio
fireworks.
State is soft. JT was short. Chip Kelly is washed. There we go.
The last 3 years didn't count.
Right.
All right, well, let's talk about something that you said. Yeah, that's good. That was good. I agree. I think uh, given Sherrone Moore's track record, it's like give him the nod, but it is splitting hairs. I think Ohio State's
Yeah.
O line is going to be just as formidable,
I
and
will
they'll
say
figure
one
something out.
thing. It is funny. Here's a talk for you guys. There are two things that are just about guaranteed to happen on every single play in the game of football. The ball is snapped and somebody gets tackled. And Ohio State picked up a center that couldn't snap the ball, and they didn't tackle in the first half of their spring game.
I don't know if you saw it, but I retired that guy's number for
Listen.
Michigan.
Whatever.
He's a legend, Michigan legend.
We don't that there was that drive that Alabama was. I know I'm going on a tangent, but hi, welcome. There was a drive in that Alabama game where they were like going to score. I think they were on like the 35, and I was like, it was like somewhere in the third quarter. Alabama had
Yes.
already taken the
Yep.
lead, and he snapped low snaps 2 plays in a row, and I was like, thank you,
Flip the game.
thank
That
you.
and Jalen
I couldn't believe
Milroe's
what I was
fumble.
watching.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe what I was watching.
yeah,
That I think that Justin Fry will fix that. Um,
has to.
he better. I mean, and he is McLaughlin is one of the better blocking linemen in the nation. That people forget about that.
He is. He is
And
graded on
you don't get to
PFF and
start.
everything.
You don't get to start for Nick Saban for 3 years for no reason.
Right. Right.
So
I just like
Yeah,
to jab a little bit. I laughed a
it's a
little
good
bit when
jab.
he came in the portal, and then Downs followed him. It's like, is everyone that's losing to Michigan just they're making a super team? Okay.
I'm okay with it. I need it.
We got to figure out something though, because we're losing the trades that are going on right now. So we got to figure out something. But Darren, what did Michigan do to Kentucky? You
I don't
mentioned
know.
that.
I have no idea. Maybe did they get a hold of the fact that I'm not a big fan of bourbon? I'm more of a Scotch guy.
You're not a what?
I don't
Oh,
know. I'm more of a Scotch guy.
Could be a
I
problem.
love that Isla Scotch. I gotta admit, there's one island in this world that knows how to make a good whiskey. That is the Isle of Isla in Scotland. Those Kentucky boys.
No
Maybe
free,
maybe we
no
can
free
just
ads.
yeah, true. Well, I didn't name
they
any
have good
brands. I didn't
fried
name any
chicken.
brands in specific. They do. They got good stuff down there. I drove through there on my way to the Smokies this past summer. It was a great
I drive
time.
through it.
What's the recruiting outlook then for Michigan? Like what are we? I mean, we tough go of things this week,
Hmm.
Tony.
What happened?
You just can't go look it up. You can figure it out. You can't lose those. Now, if it's a money play, it's a money play. Sure, I guess.
Are you telling me Kentucky has more money than you guys?
Garrison, what's going on here?
I
That's the
don't know
thing.
what's going. It's Kentucky. Kentucky football.
It's been happening. It
That's the
happened to
thing.
Justin
No,
Rogers. Remember Justin Rogers, the offensive lineman, the top player in Michigan, like 4 years ago? I think he's supposed to be Michigan lock. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. But then he went. I remember that was the first time. It was like 4 years ago, where
has it
Kentucky
been
came
going
in.
on for that long?
And
Yeah,
that defensive
Why?
lineman,
Why?
who's going to Alabama from Kentucky, who's a freshman All American last year. He was.
Why?
What
I
was
don't
his
get
name?
it. I don't get it. They must.
What was his name?
Well, maybe they don't have that money to spend on Calipari anymore. That they can diverge it to the football team. And Mark Stoops is grabbing it. It makes no sense.
I will say this. I think it's Kentucky has that new money that they're throwing around. Michigan's got that old money, and we're stingy with that old money. We're like, hey, we got donors here that want their names on buildings, not football rosters. That's what's going on.
I mean, he Stoops is from Youngstown, Ohio, which is like the football mecca of coaches in college football. So I mean, maybe he likes to, just pull from you guys a little bit. He doesn't
That
like you.
that wouldn't be the first time a coach from Ohio has just hated on Michigan for no clear and obvious
Who's
reason.
the other one?
I mean, well, what's his name? I don't. He coached at Ohio for a while, but he still hates on Michigan every chance he gets. Schiano over at Rutgers
Oh
during
yeah,
the
oh,
game last season
Michigan.
against Michigan. He's like, there's things going on that we can't talk about yet. Blah blah blah. It's like just take your L and get out of here, dude. I'm done with you, Butgers.
Come on,
Jesus.
it's the birthplace of college football.
I will respect it as the history nerd that I am, and for nothing else.
He did say though that had nothing to do with the signs.
He
He
did.
made that comment at halftime. That was
He knew it.
something
No,
season team.
he was just trying to backtrack. He knew what he was saying.
Well, the guys at I don't know if you guys ever listened to the MGO blog, but the guys at MGO blog had a good theory about this, and that's that every coach who had like a bad season or whose job was on the line had an incentive to make a bigger deal out of the Connor Stallions
Yes,
thing than what it really was. Because you notice every team, either like the week of or the week immediately after, like Matt Rule leading into the Michigan game was like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then after getting whooped, it was like, well, they had our plays. They had the signs. It's like they're speaking directly to their ADs when they're saying that. They're trying to
yeah.
keep their jobs.
Purdue's
But we
going through
all,
that.
but we all can admit. Oh, okay, all right. Let me say this.
Okay, hit me.
So I played D2 college football for 2 years,
Oh, okay, word.
and I can tell you right now, no assistant had. You will never at any point see an assistant talking to the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. You will never
No
see that.
low level assistant.
Yes, he has.
Yeah,
They will look at him at my school, St. France. They will look at that. Donnelly will look at him stupid and ask, "Why are you here?" So and listen, is it as bad as what everyone's saying? No. Do I think it's punishable? Yes. But you can't sit there and see that and then not think, well, what's he doing?
right.
Like, we're all just being honest here.
he was he was doing his job. Let's all be clear. Let's be adults about this. And his job was to steal signs. Most any college football team in FBS at the FBS level, from what I understand, had somebody on the staff that was either doing it or specifically asked to do it, or coaches that delved
In
around in it
game, in game,
in
Oh
game
yeah.
or watching
not
tape or
buying
whatever.
tickets to
Oh
30
no, no,
plus
no, no.
different
That's
games.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But when you hire a guy who is like writing manifestos and
I want to read it. I really
start
do want to read it.
I want it. Oh, it's probably so long and boring. It's like, and not to get
It's
political or anything,
perfect.
but like what people think like Das Kapital is actually the most boring thing ever. Like I tried to read it and it's not. It's there's 3 chapters on what the price of a garment should be. It's terrible. It's probably the most boring thing ever, but I still want to read it. I still want to read it so bad because the guy started like a vacuum cleaner business on the side and tried to get Blake Corum's name on an LLC and was like,
And he's a Maureen. So I mean,
"Oh, that's right, you were in the Navy. That's right.
yeah.
Thanks for
Eh,
your service, by the way.
thank
I
you,
don't know why I
man.
did the little salute thing. I was never in the military. I joined the oil field, like went into the oil field at 18, which
That's
is
tough.
probably a big part of
No,
the
that's
reason why I am what I am today.
I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's all right? Darren, we moved through this way too fast. So we got to get to
Mhm.
the key talking point here is
Yeah, no
what's your
worries.
message to Buckeye fans? What do you have to say to the Garrisons? And this is too cordial right now, so pretend Garrisons is not here. But what do you have to say to the Buckeye fans out there right now who are feeling good about things?
My message to Buckeye fans is don't change a thing, baby. Keep doing what you do. Keep being who you are. Everything's gonna be fine. Listen, it's working out great. You can have your off seasons. You can have these recruiting victories. We all know y'all are way into that stuff, like way too into that stuff, like way into that stuff. Just hey, it's all good. And then come November, you take that little L. It's just a little one. Remember, you won 8 years in a row. This will only be four. It's okay. The sun will still come up in Columbus the next day, I assume. Haven't been there in a while. Not my favorite place, not gonna lie. I see why y'all are so obsessed with football in the state of Ohio. Lived there for 3 years myself. Don't ever want to go back.
Oof.
But don't change a thing. Everything's okay. And it's gonna be okay. That's my message to Ohio
Boom.
State fans.
And
Trumped
your
by
message to your
Aaron
Teton
Tunkspaw.
fans,
To my what?
your Teton
My
fans.
Teton fans. This you make it sound like it's like a British weight of measurement.
The ton.
Like brake horsepower. You don't have to. Why do you say brake in front of it? I don't get it. Um, my
Good point.
message to Teton fans. Again, everything's fine. 3 in a row, baby. This is the best we've had in a while. No, I think to step a little bit out of character here, I do think, and you watched the video earlier today, I'm gonna be fully upfront and honest. I do think this is the year that Ohio State gets their dub. I do. Um, I see some interesting, like weird parallels between what was it? Was it 2018 or 2019 when we all went into the season and everyone was like Ohio State's first year head coach, offensive coordinator, promoted to head
2019.
coach. 2019, first, I believe it was first year starting quarterback. Didn't look that great in the spring game. Michigan should roll Ohio. It's
Justin
like
Fields 4 for 13 in the spring game.
Justin Fields was bad in that spring game.
And we found
Also,
out why.
happy to have Justin Fields on the Steelers. Pittsburgh is my second city. I love Pittsburgh, and I was very happy to see him go somewhere where he may actually be appreciated. But anyway,
They heard they
the,
put it on special teams.
hey, I mean,
That's a joke.
dude can run.
That was a
Dude
joke.
can run. Mike
Yeah.
Tomlin saw Harbaugh talking about putting orgy on the punt returns. Like I can one up that. But no, leading into the 2019 season, there was all that talk, and we saw how that turned out. Now that's obviously entirely different rosters and different situations. That was pre-portal era. A lot of people out there, and I put a poll on my Twitter page the other day that was like, by how much do you think either team is going to win? Overwhelmingly, people thought Ohio State by 10 or more. And I was on the Tailgate podcast the other night, by the way, that should be coming out next week. The host is an Ohio State fan. He
You said
had them
Tuesday,
winning.
right?
Yeah, it should be out Tuesday. Yeah, to give a little plug, they're a great podcast themselves. The host of that's an Ohio State fan. He said he thought that Ohio State would win by 2 touchdowns. And my message to Michigan fans is I do think this will be the year that Ohio State gets us, but don't be surprised if that game is much closer, if not an upset, because that defense, I don't care who
Travels.
I don't care who they're playing against, that defense is going to be insane. And there's a few things about Chip Kelly's offense, by the way, I think don't quite get touched down. Like last year at UCLA, UCLA was like dead last or near dead last in red zone percentage on offense. There's some
Good
interesting
stat.
like metagame things too. Like I think I like to get into like metagame stuff because again, I'm a big nerd and I'm a humanities major, so it's always like the 30,000 foot view thing. But there's an interesting trend I think that's going on in college football right now too, where like we became so obsessed with like spread offenses and we didn't want to have to block more people. The whole thing was getting the numbers out in space.
Mhm.
You look at the last 3 national champions, the last 4 going back to Alabama, it's Michigan, Georgia twice, and Alabama. And in the last 3 years, all those teams have gone back to running heavy sets, 12, 22 personnel, lots of running old things like the duo that is like Michigan's base run play was almost gone from college football for a while. So it's interesting to me that Ohio State is going with a guy in Chip Kelly and kind of going back to that spread run scheme, which I would call it, because Chip Kelly's base plays, a lot of people don't know it, are all run plays. Like his big thing is running the football, but running the football in kind of a different way that still tries to get the numbers right and doesn't want to block as much, I think is a fair thing to say, like stretch and things like that. So it's interesting to me. I think Michigan's going to have an interesting matchup defensively, but that defense can hold. People are going to have a problem scoring more than about 27 or 30 points on that defense. I'd be surprised if anyone does it this next season, especially that defensive line being as good as they are. So that was
Junkin,
long-winded. I
Junkin's
know.
gonna
I'm
wish
sorry.
he stayed at Ole Miss.
Yeah, he's going to get a rude awakening.
Yes. No, he just left the call. How
Did
about
he just?
that? He just
Wow.
bailed.
Wow. All right. It's official. I
It's
won.
official. You won.
I won.
Darren, well, this
There
is
we go.
awesome, man. We gotta run here. Let's be talking all night. We'll have you
Yeah.
back on because we talked
Yeah.
ball. And that was
Yeah,
just a
for sure.
ball podcast.
That
'Cause
was.
Darren
Hey,
talks ball.
talks ball. All
Look at
right,
that.
man.
Look at
Appreciate
that.
it.
All right. Well, great stuff. Everyone go follow Darren Talks Ball at Darren Talks Ball, YouTube, Twitter. Have any other social?
Just that. Just add
Just
Darren
that.
talks ball on both. Plain and simple, baby. Straightforward.
Go subscribe right now, man. All
Yeah.
right. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Go Blue.
Go blue.